Welcome to the Go to 101 guide on artificial intelligence. By the end of this video, you will have a newfound perspective and understanding on artificial intelligence and large language models. Let's dive into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence. When I look up at the night sky, I see endless possibilities. The universe is full of mysteries, of forces we're only beginning to understand. But here on Earth, we're creating our own complex systems that mimic the very essence of intelligence. Today, we're going to explore a particular corner of that world, large language models, or LLMs. We'll break down what they are, how they work, and why they have everyone talking. Get ready to have your mind stretched, because we're going on a journey into the future of intelligence. So what exactly is artificial intelligence? It's like teaching a machine to think, or at least to mimic certain aspects of thinking. We're talking about giving computers the ability to learn, solve problems, and make decisions. Today, we have AI powering everything from your social media feeds to self-driving cars. Machines can diagnose diseases, compose music, and even write poetry. So buckle up, because we're about to explore the fascinating world of large language models. Imagine a brain that has devoured every book in the Library of Congress, every article on Wikipedia, and countless other texts. That's essentially what a large language model, or LLM, is. These AI systems are trained on massive data sets of text and code. We're talking about trillions of words and billions of parameters. This allows them to develop a deep understanding of language itself. And when I say understanding, I don't mean they're sentient beings pondering the meaning of life. They're incredibly complex algorithms that excel at recognizing patterns and relationships between words. Think of it like this. They've become masters of language, capable of generating text, translating languages, writing different kinds of creative content, and answering your questions in an informative way. But the real magic happens when we delve into a specific type of LLM GPT. GPT, or Generative Pre-trained Transformer, is like the rock star of the LLM world. It's the technology behind some of the most impressive AI applications we see today. Now let's break down that name for a second. Generative means it can create new text, code, or even images. Pre-trained means it's already been fed a massive amount of data and is ready to go. And transformer, well, that refers to the specific architecture of the model, which allows it to process information in a highly efficient and sophisticated way. You might have heard of GPT-3 or GPT-4. These are different versions of GPT, each more powerful than the last. They're capable of generating incredibly human-like text, writing different kinds of creative content, and answering your questions in an informative way, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange. But how do they actually work? Let's dive into the mechanics of GPT. Imagine you're playing a game of Finish the Sentence. Someone gives you a few words, and you have to guess the next one. That's essentially what GPT does, but on a much grander scale. It has been trained on a massive amount of text data, and it uses that knowledge to predict the probability of different words appearing in a sequence. It's like an incredibly advanced version of the autocomplete feature on your phone. But here's the thing. GPT doesn't just look at the last few words. It considers the entire context of the conversation or text. This allows it to generate responses that are not only grammatically correct, but also contextually relevant. It's like having a conversation with someone who has read everything ever written. They can follow your train of thought, make connections you might have missed, and surprise you with their insights. But GPT's abilities go far beyond just predicting the next word. What makes GPT stand out from other AI models is its versatility. It's not limited to just one specific task. It's a general-purpose language model that can be applied to a wide range of applications. Need to translate a document from English to Mandarin? GPT can do that. Want to write a poem in the style of Shakespeare? GPT can do that too. How about generating code for a simple website? You guessed it, GPT can handle that as well. This is what sets GPT apart. It's not a one-trick pony, it's a Swiss Army knife of language, capable of adapting to different tasks without needing to be explicitly trained for each one. And this is just the beginning. as GPT continues to evolve, its capabilities will only become more impressive and widespread. Why are these models called large? It all comes down to scale, models with billions, even trillions of parameters. Parameters are like connections between neurons in a brain. More connections mean more complex thoughts. The same applies to LLMs. They capture language nuances and generate human-like text. Now, I know what you're thinking. If GPT can write poetry and compose music, does that mean it can think like a human? Well, not quite. While GPT is incredibly impressive, it's important to remember that it's still a machine. It doesn't have emotions, consciousness, or a true understanding of the world in the way that humans do. It's a master of language, yes, but it doesn't actually comprehend the meaning behind the words it generates. It's simply following patterns and making predictions based on the data it has been trained on. Think of it like this: GPT is like a parrot that can recite Shakespeare. It can mimic human language with remarkable accuracy, but it doesn't truly grasp the underlying concepts or emotions. So, while it's tempting to anthropomorphize GPT and attribute human-like qualities to it, it's important to remember that it's still a tool, albeit a very powerful one. So how do we go from a bunch of algorithms to a language model that can write poetry and code? Well, it all starts with training. GPT models are trained using a method called unsupervised learning. This means they're not given explicit instructions or labeled data. Instead, they're presented with a massive dataset of text and code and left to figure out the patterns and relationships on their own. Think of it like this. Imagine giving a child a stack of books and telling them to read everything. Over time, the child will start to develop an understanding of grammar, vocabulary, and storytelling. GPT works in a similar way. It devours massive amounts of data, identifying patterns and making connections between words, sentences, and paragraphs. And the more data it's fed, the better it becomes at generating coherent and contextually relevant text. It's a continuous learning process, with GPT constantly refining its understanding of language. Now that we understand the basics of GPT, let's explore some of its real-world applications. And trust me, this is where things get really exciting. One of the most common applications of GPT is in chatbots. You know, those automated customer service agents you encounter on websites. GPT can power those conversations, providing instant responses and even mimicking human-like interaction. But it goes far beyond just customer service. GPT can be used to generate creative content like stories, poems, and even scripts. In fact, some writers are already using GPT as a tool to overcome writer's block or explore new creative avenues. GPT is also being used to summarize documents, translate languages, and even write code. It's like having a super-powered assistant that can handle a wide range of tasks, freeing up human brainpower for more complex endeavors. And as GPT technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more innovative applications emerge in the near future. While GPT is an incredibly powerful tool, it's not without its limitations. Like any AI system, it's important to understand its blind spots and use it responsibly. One limitation is that GPT can sometimes generate biased or offensive content. Because it's trained on massive datasets of text and code, it can inadvertently pick up on the biases that exist in that data. It's like teaching a child to speak by only exposing them to a single culture or viewpoint. They might develop a skewed perspective of the world. Another limitation is that GPT can sometimes hallucinate or generate nonsensical responses. This is because it's still a machine learning model, and it can sometimes make mistakes or misinterpret information. It's important to remember that GPT is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us, the humans behind the technology, to ensure that it's used responsibly and ethically. Now you know the basics of AI, LLMs, and GPT. We've journeyed from the fundamental concepts of AI to the intricate workings of GPT and its wide-ranging applications. We've explored its strengths, its limitations, and its potential impact on our world. But this is just the beginning. The field of AI is constantly evolving, and GPT is at the forefront of this revolution. As these models continue to learn and grow, Who knows what incredible feats they'll be capable of in the years to come? Stay curious and keep exploring the incredible world of artificial intelligence. Thanks for watching.